This is the thing too, is all of these things I fully acknowledge where I get them from, whether it's an obscure Oz book or whatnot. I fully acknowledge it. I'm using it in a totally different way. Uh, I use the characters. Sometimes I have the characters going into actual scenes from the books. Other times they're doing other stuff, like having Bit von Reingold lusting over Anne of Green Gables and encouraging Jim Hawkins from Treasure Island and Tom Sawyer to see which of them is going to bang the little girl. I mean, you know, that's sick, but this is Bit the pornographer. And then, so I mean, and that's one of the reasons I do that. And the best example of that comes in chapter 54, where I have Bit and oldest Bit, I think it is, or older Bit. There are three main Bit von Reingolds. There are dozens of Bits that show up, but there's Bit, there's older Bit, and then who basically Bit is twinned. It's Bit and older Bit for maybe about the first 25% of that chapter, and then oldest Bit comes in. And there's a scene where, absurdly, we meet the playwright Clifford Odets. And the character of Clifford Odets says, "Go ahead, Bit, you can use my work," but they can't. And so Clifford Odets has to wonder why he can't give permission for Bit and oldest Bit to go into his work. And so that's my highlighting the absurdity of this, is that I can write. I'm free to use the real person of Clifford Odets, who's dead, and I can use him as a character, but I couldn't use his words. It's absurd. And I did this too because in the Vincetti Brothers, I quote from a lot of popular songs, and a lot of these songwriting things. Just a year or two ago, or less than a year ago, the song "Happy Birthday," which was written in like 1895 or something, finally came into public domain because someone finally stood up against the company that claimed the rights. Some documentary filmmaker that was making a documentary about the song, and said, "Fuck you." You can't have a 120-year-old song and claim that you have the rights to it. And the people, and this is like with YouTube, all these interviews that I upload to YouTube. It's like, why can't I use public domain films? Some company in Germany screwed me for like 6 months a year or so ago, that I had to start a second YouTube channel. And it's fucking bullshit. Google is one of the richest companies in the world. They could easily post and say, if something is acknowledged as a public domain work, you, the person claiming to have the right for it, you have the burden of proof. I don't have to prove that something's in the public domain if it's acknowledged while in the public domain. You have to show, if you're claiming that thing, that you have the rights to it. And this book is again the best argument for that, because it's ridiculous, as I said. And the best example is, I can use Clifford Odets, the real life person, as a character, but I can't use his words. And I can't even have my character authorize the use of his words.